So now we are moving on to intuitive parenting. Okay. Is the coin in my right hand or my left hand? How many of you have played this game as a child and played with your children? Is the coin in my right hand or left hand? Right hand. How many say right hand? Left hand? That is my right hand. Okay, when you were trying to decide whether it was my right hand or left hand, what were you doing? What were you doing?
Guessing.
Guessing. Guessing, isn't it? Okay. Using instinct, feeling, maybe right hand, left hand. Okay, some use some analysis, the way I was holding it. How many of you have had the situation where you think, I haven't seen this old classmate of mine. We used to go to school for so long, I haven't seen her in years. And suddenly the next day, that classmate calls or you bump into that classmate. Have you had that situation? Any of you? Yeah. What's happening actually? What's happening?
Telepathy.
Telepathy. There's some unknown, it's not rational, isn't it? You can't analyze what's actually happening. But it's happening. We all experience it at some point in time. Oh, you have a gut feeling. I don't, better not go today, I don't feel right. Better not. We postpone, we go another day. It is an instinct, a sixth sense. It's an intuition. And quite often, so that's where we come now. We are intuitive parenting. And a lot of us, we really put it at low priority. I instill you and some men especially, tell your wife, even when you're feeling, even when you're instinct, they poo-poo it as being something that's not logical and therefore less important. But actually, it's very, very important. In fact, scientists in NASA, when they train their astronauts, one of their training programs is to make their astronauts flip through 4 pictures. And then they go through it with them to say, can they identify the sequence that is going to be flashed out next? They mix the sequence, then it will be jumbled up. The first one become 4 or whatever. And they say, can you predict which will come first, second, third, and fourth? So how do they do that? They use an intuition. They use that to see how in tune you are, how connected you are. Because sometimes really there's no time to do anything but act instinctively, and they want to know how fluid your instincts are. It's now used as an educational method in Japan. In fact, in Japan, many years ago, they've been using it. It's called the Shishida method of training. It's now come into Malaysia. My second daughter, in fact, I sent for 1 year to do that. And what they do is a very interesting thing. They try to activate the right side of the brain. They try to make them use what they call the special eye. So they all little cookies, they start them at about 6 months. From 6 months to 6 years, after that they say the best is gone. So from 6 months to 6 years, they make this child who can't hold a pen, who can't read, who can't do maths, and do things instinctively. So what the game just played with that, with the coin, they play that, they mix around, they put 3 tumblers with something underneath and move it around, ask them to guess which it is. They start with that, and finally these children, after years of just training with instinct, with their special eye as they call it, they are able to know when 2 cards are flashed, one with 78 dots and the other one with 59 dots, they are able to say which one has 78 dots. These little ones just go up to them, whack the 78 dots and say that's 78. Oh, it's 108 and 112. I mean, you can't tell, we can't tell which is 108, 100, but these little ones have clued on to their instinct, using that special eye to be able to do it. So there is scientific basis for that. It's just that we are not fully appreciating it. And why do we talk about this instinct? It's because it helps us instinctively know what our child needs. That's why we can't bring it into parenting. It's intuitive parenting. It's the sense of knowing. Just know. I just know that my child, and many parents here would say that they know instinctively whether the child is in trouble or the child is pulling on fast one and telling a story. They know. And it's that sense of knowing. Now, where does that sense of knowing come? It comes from things like this. It relates to our bliss domain. So we're finally at our fifth domain. Remember, we had 5 domains. We had the most simple domain called the bliss domain. If you recall, it had started this way. This was your physical, yeah, your healthy parenting. Then you had your energy parenting, your anger, your emotion. Then you had your mind, which was your conscious parenting, and each time you were getting more and more subtle. And then there was your intellect last week, the creative part of you, the creative parenting. And now we are here right at the core of our existence. That is your bliss domain. Now this is the domain there which generates your happiness, your sense of peace, joy. You've all experienced that. Imagine if you're by the seaside now, just for 1 minute. By the seaside, it's clear blue sky, green oceans, the waves are lapping in, sounds of birds, sunny day, you can hear children in the distance, you feel calm, you feel peaceful. In that peacefulness, you feel a joy. You feel a joy? You would. And it's not a ha-ha-hee-hee joy, it's a quiet joy. It's a quiet peacefulness. That peacefulness is your bliss. So you have it, we all have it. We all have it. It's deep inside here. The idea is to be connected with that domain, that core. Because when you're connected with that core, the intuition comes up. So all the time you're walking from here, you're not connected with that, you can't hear the intuition. The intuition is always there. It's always dormant. But because we're so far away, we're not connected, we're not able to hear this intuition, feel this intuition. So the ideal that we want to do as the best parents that we can be is to be permanently connected. Not this one-off, once in 1 month, once in a year, that sort of connection. Permanently connected to this bliss domain. When you're permanently connected, your intuition is so alive, so vibrant, you will know what your child needs, what to do with your child. That is intuitive parenting. So, like a mother, a newborn baby, the joy that the baby brings to you, you just hold that baby itself will be beaming, isn't it? And when the child cries, the mother knows at once whether it's for milk, or father for that matter knows whether it's for milk, whether it's wet, whether it's hungry, whether it's colic. They know, isn't it? Is the child telling you, no, it's not, it's just crying. And that is because you are so in bliss at that point. Your beautiful newborn baby, you're so connected with your bliss, connected with the child's bliss domain, the natural state, that you know what the child needs. So you can have this connection, but it becomes more difficult as they grow, as we get caught up and we lose that joy in seeing them, and we want to recapture that. So what are the things that takes us away from that? Okay, imagine you're just driving on your own. You had a nice morning, you woke up, say with perfect parent, we meditated in the morning, did some yoga exercise, we're perfectly ready for the day, and we're driving in the car and somebody cuts in our way. Cuts in our way, and then you honk, and then that fellow shouts at you and you shout. Immediately your emotions have gone awry. Your sense of balance is lost. You saw him cutting you, you heard him shouting at you, your senses have all provoked you, and you're upset about it. Where's your bliss? Gone. The morning's meditation, the morning bliss, disturbed. Your connection disturbed. Or you see someone driving a nice car. Captures the car. First it looks like a nice car. Then you say, oh, my friend is driving that car. And then the thoughts think, how did that fellow afford to buy that car? He must be making some money on the side. Actually, my boss had only given me that promotion. Check, that fellow did this, that. I also drive mind from that.